Hey, it's Flavio Hangata here from Self Starters, and today I'm going to show you how you can segment your customer segments, and in specific, how you can identify the customer segments that you should be going after, and in turn, how you will increase your profitability, predictability, and hopefully have a little bit more fun in your business. So stay tuned, let's get started. So why should you segment your market? And here's why. So there was a study done by Michael Keeley and his company the company they were working for, Ogilvy and Mathers. And what they've done is they had a direct marketing campaign where they tried to figure out which variable would most highly affect the outcome of the campaign. And so they had 12 variables, but the key variables that stood out were, number one, the prospect you're targeting, the messaging of how you target these people, and lastly, the website, how you package it up. And so the findings were quite significant. Now, by changing the website and how or the landing page, how you offer a product, changed the outcome by 135%. So they just changed the landing page, left the message, left the prospects, and the outcome changed by 135%. Now, messaging and what you said to these people changed the outcome by 300%. And now the crazy thing is that the outcome changed by almost 700% by just changing the prospect. So sending the same message, the same landing page to different people changed the outcome by 700%. So by following this process, you could almost go and change your outcome by 700%. So there are a few other benefits of customer segmentation. And number one is that your resources will go a lot further by being clearer with who you target and focusing on a few customer segments rather than a general approach into the mass market. Now, what this does by segmenting as well is send to market a clearer image of who you actually help and what it is that you do. Now, it also allows you to not spread yourself too thinly. So if you have a $100 marketing budget, targeting everyone in the whole country is probably not going to be too efficient. By being very specific on who you target, one, they will be easier to find, and two, your marketing budget will go much, much further. Lastly, it helps you to establish a competitive advantage. You will be clearly, you'll clearly earn higher returns. You will have a better marketing budget and increase profitability, and hopefully get a little bit more predictability in terms of where your business comes from and from who. So let me share with you the 4 steps that we take our clients through as part of our Self-Starters growth coaching program. Now, the first step is really identifying what value means in your business. How do you define valuable in your business? And so there are a few criteria that we generally go to straight away. Number one is identifying the size of the market. So do you have a big enough market? How many customers are there available in this industry, in this sector, or as part of your chosen customer segments? Next, we look into profitability. Profitability is always key because if you're going after customer segments that are hard to access, that only give you a small margin of profitability, it becomes a very unattractive market, which in turn does not really deem itself very valuable to your company. Also have a think about sales cycle time. The longer the process of selling, the more expensive it will become. The less cash flow you can generate and the less attractive the market. You will also want to have a look at the lifetime value of a customer. The longer they stick with you, the better clients you have, the less you have to focus on finding more customers. The other thing is pain levels. How much pain do they have that you can help them solve? The less they have, the harder it will be for you to actually make the sale in the first place. So have a think about what defines value for your customers. Think about the size of the market, profitability, access, maybe even competitive landscape. But once you have these criteria, jump to the next section. For now, pause the video, write down your valuable variables, and I will see you in the next part. Step 2 is all about identifying and listing your customer segments. You can do that in many different ways. A few ways I do that with my clients is through demographics, which is identifying customers based on, or grouping customers based on age, sex, marital status, income status. But you can also choose another way. And this is actually what becomes really interesting, is basing them on psychographics. So this is how customers think and how what customers value sets. Another way I often like to do it is as a behavioral part. So this is grouping your customers together based on actions they take and based on certain behaviors they orchestrate. Now, if you're working in a business-to-business space, you can still apply the same principles. It's also still very important. But if you're in business-to-business space or in a corporate space, rather than targeting all small to medium-sized companies, perhaps you can target them based on experience level, time in business, income, revenue per annum. You can do them on number of employees, perhaps just even specifically industry sectors. So professional services, or specifically lawyers, accountants. You can also do it based on geography. So only targeting business in a small area or as part of a network group. Pause the video now, write down your customer segments and choose them, group them together based on behavior, based on psychographics, based on size of the company, profitability of the company, and keep your list. So this brings us to step number 3, which is all about the analysis of your customer segments. Now, what I want to do here is actually share my screen with you to show you the tools that we use to help our customers through this process. And so what you can see here is, number one, what we've done is taken how we defined valuable in our business, and we've written them down. So what we define as valuable is a market size, access to market, profitability, sales cycle, and so on. Now, on the other side, in this column here, we have put together our customer segments that we identified in step number 2. So we have our customer segments, and we have how we define our most valuable customers. Now, next, what we want to do is we want to score our customers. We want to score them based on 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. As we score them under each variable, what we can do is we can actually add up the points afterwards. And I did a bit of a formula here. I have some other criteria that I put in, but we can add up the score and very quickly identify our most valuable customer segment and our least valuable customer segment. And now we actually base it on data, on numbers. Now, we can still think of it as a little bit subjective, but it is a lot more accurate than just going out and choosing customers based on your intent or on your gut instinct, rather than putting a bit of data in the back to give it some facts and muscle. So what I would like you to do is go into Excel, create a grid like this, write down your customer segments that you've identified, and on the top, what I want you to do is for each column, write down the variable in terms of the value that you've identified for your customers. So this could be the size of the market, their pain levels, their profitability, access to the market, and so on. So pause this video and have a go at it yourself. Okay, now that you've analyzed your customer segments, you've probably identified maybe something that was very obvious, maybe customer segments that weren't so obvious to begin with. What we want to do now is we want to start prioritizing our highest valuable customer segment. So this is really identifying the marketing messages that we can send out to them, start to develop our sales funnel and sales process towards these people, and we can target them with a specific value proposition that speaks to these people as a group, rather than having many, many different messages out there in the market and not really being anything for anyone. So these were the 4 steps to create your customer segments and to identify your most valuable customer segment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share with somebody that could benefit from this, that it can educate someone, and that could make someone's life a lot easier. This is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.